Oh my God. What has gone wrong with Marvel? This is a review that's not really a review of a movie I haven't watched and I have no intention of watching. It's not because I'm boycotting it or anything. It's just I don't care anymore. And judging from the last few movies they've put out, neither does Marvel. For fun, let's start with the budget. Disney and Marvel are making a big deal about how this is the cheapest movie they've made in years, with only a $180 million budget on this thing. Well, great. Congratulations. I'm sure the bean counters are very happy about that. But why would that matter to me? Why would you think that I'm going to think that you spending less money on this movie is going to make it a better movie? Especially when people have been complaining for years about how bad your movies look. And now you're telling us that spending less on them is going to make them somehow look better? I don't think so. Now keep in mind that Disney and Marvel have been spending between $200 and $300 million per movie for years. But now with Anthony Mackie as Captain America, all of a sudden they got to save some money. They got to cut the budget. But you got to love the spin they put on it. Make it sound like a great thing. But really, for most people, it doesn't matter what the budget is. The only thing that matters is it a good movie or is it not a good movie? And the general consensus is that it's not a good movie. Not the worst Marvel movie, but it's not good. There's a video on YouTube titled Brave New World Isn't As Bad As You've Heard. Talk about damning something with faint praise. But anyway, let's get into it. I've not seen the movie, but I have watched a lot of reviews. So I have some idea of what went on in the movie, and the same goes with the show. I haven't seen it either, but I have some idea of what went on there, and I know who the characters are. And there's one character in particular that I was hoping that they would do something with, Carl Lumbly's character. I really like Carl Lumbly, and I was hoping they would do something with his character. And they did, but they did the laziest, dumbest thing they possibly could. If you don't know, Carl Lumbly is a great actor. He's been around forever. He's just never gotten that big role that he deserves. He's a very charismatic actor with a lot of gravitas, and there's so much they could have done with him. They didn't have to make him Captain America, but they could have had him suit up at least. But what did they do? They just turned him into another mind-controlled puppet, a lame, weak retread of Winter Soldier. But at least they didn't kill him. I guess there's that. At least they didn't kill him off. But they did waste him. They wasted both the character and the actor. And that's my biggest gripe with Marvel these last few years. The waste. The absolute waste of actors, characters, storylines, potential, and worst of all, my time. But specifically in this movie, they wasted Anthony Mackie. From what I understand, Captain America is not even the main character in this movie. The main character seems to be Thunderbolt Ross? How does that make any sense? And how is it that Captain America is a side character in his own movie? What are you doing, Marvel? What are you doing? I'd really love to know whose bright idea it was to take this movie, Sam Wilson's Captain America movie, hijack it, and use it to tie off loose ends from a movie from 2008 that nobody cares about, that nobody's cared about since 2008. They should really make that guy the head of Marvel Studios, unless, of course, he's already the head of Marvel Studios. But anyway, I think they made a huge mistake by introducing Sam Wilson as Captain America in a TV show and not a movie. For most people, movies are still the big leagues and TV is still just the minor leagues. For example, Steve Rogers was introduced in a movie. Iron Man was introduced in a movie. Thor was introduced in a movie. Ant-Man was... The Wasp was introduced in a movie. But the new Captain America? Nah, he gets a TV show. A bad TV show, and a movie with the smallest budget of any movie they made in years. I don't want to get too political or anything, but it seems to me that Disney's actions belie their words. But maybe you disagree with me and you think introducing him in a TV show is just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But remember what John Boyega said all those years ago when they asked him if he was going to do more Star Wars. And he said, "You ain't going to Disney Plus me. I'm going to stick with the feature films." So yeah, there's a huge difference between television and the movies. And the fact that Disney Marvel decided to introduce their new Captain America in a TV show and not a movie, that should tell you everything you need to know about how much faith they actually have in this character. But that's a lack of faith on their part. Most people have no problem with Sam Wilson being Captain America. But come on, anytime you replace a character, it's going to be a tough sell. So you need to be sure that you have a rock-solid script before you film the first frame. So tell me, is it their plan to basically replace Steve Rogers with Sam Wilson? Is he going to be the leader of the Avengers? Is he going to be the Rock at the center of this universe? If that is the case, then how can they justify putting out such a weak, half-assed movie? And like I said, most of the reviewers say he's not even the main character in this movie. In his own movie, Captain America is not the main character in the Captain America movie. It's completely ridiculous. So yeah, it's kind of irritating how they disrespected not just the character, but Anthony Mackie as well. And I'm gobsmacked at how little care they showed to ensure that this was the best possible movie they could make. How could they put out something like this? How can they spend so much time and money and put out such a mediocre movie? I know, okay, it's only $180 million, right? It's only $180 million. That's $180 million. That's a hell of a lot of money. And if they had spent it wisely, if they had written a script, a good script, a solid script, before you started shooting the movie, then they could have made something great, something to be proud of. You had a terrific cast. Carl Lumbly, Anthony Mackie, Harrison Ford, Giancarlo Esposito, and Tim Blake Nelson. You get all these great actors together, and this is the movie you come up with. Pathetic. It's clear to me that the people in charge at Marvel just don't care anymore. They just had a slot to fill on their schedule, and that's all this movie was to them. Something to fill that slot. It's not like it was 10 years ago when they cared about their movies, when they put the effort into making sure that they were making good movies. But now they're just coasting. It's sad, and it's a shame. I used to love Marvel movies. I used to get excited for Marvel movies. But now for them, it's just product, and then get excited for next product. And I can't do that. Sorry.